Hi, good morning, everybody. Crafting Journey here. That Journey chick on Instagram. Welcome to the morning show. I didn't want to skip another morning show, but am I feeling great? Not really. The cold that was in my head seems to have settled like right here, but I'm gonna live. I'm just not my most chipperest. So we had the yarn giveaway last night. Please check to see if you are the winner. I would I, I would tell you who the winner is, but I don't remember. Um, it's in the video. Not trying to hide it or anything. It's in the video. Um, so it is Thursday, May 20th. I'm just checking. I'm orienting myself. Um, this will probably not be a long show today. I wanted to start a new trial that is actually live. Here's what is going on. Hey, what are you doing? I get these trials off of the Law&Crime Network. Well, because they're covering the Robert Durst trial, which is going to be very lengthy, and I could tell from the poll that was not, it really wasn't something you wanted me to cover. Some of you did, but most of you did not. Most of you chose to have me do another trial. So I decided, since they're covering that trial, I'll go back and cover an older trial. So I started to listen to that, and then I discovered, lo and behold, there's another live trial. So what Law&Crime Network did is they started a second channel. It is now called, they have the Law&Crime Network and then the Law&Crime Trial Network. Not many people know about this because it just happened this week. So, I figured out that this other trial started live yesterday. So I did listen to the opening statements and some of the testimony. So that is the trial that I want to cover for you guys. So just real quick, what national day is it? It is National Red Sneakers Day. This is in honor of a young boy who had food allergies. It's a food allergy awareness day. This little boy liked red sneakers, so it became Red Sneakers Day. And it's just to make people aware of food allergies. This poor little boy, he was allergic to nuts. He was 11-year-old. His name was Oakley Debs. He ate a slice of cake that had been made with walnut extract, and he died. So it's just for all of us to be aware that there are a lot of people out there with food allergies. So if you're serving food to other people, just make sure that you know what they're allergic to before you serve them anything. Jake is in a good mood today. I wish I was. What, honey? Hi, honey. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, we'll go lay down in a little while. Yes, we will. Okay. They're like, are we going back to bed again, Mom? Yeah. Hi. Hi. Go lay down. Go on, go lay down. Go lay down. Go down. Please. Down? You're not listening. That's sit, but okay. Well, that's good. Okay. All right. Let me just finish the show. Okay? Thank you. They run my life. They've been so good. I spent most of the day in bed yesterday. Because that's where I felt the best, with my head in the lower position. And if I got up and walked around or sat in my lounge chair, my head was in an upright position, and I just kind of felt dizzy and lightheaded. And so I just laid in bed all day. And they were happy to lay in bed all day with me. Just right there. We got you, Mom. I love my doggies. They're like, Tootsie just curls up as close as she can to me. It's just the sweetest thing. I have sweet doggies, and Jake has to be right there. Yes, he does. Not to be forgotten is Jake. So let's do judge, jury, and journey before my voice wears out. By the way, I did take another day off from work. Um, I just don't feel like I could sit there for 8 hours with my head up. So it is what it is, you know. I have the time. I might as well take it. So anyway, the trial is the Mollie Tibbetts trial. Mollie Tibbetts was the victim. Now, the name of the person on trial, you know, innocent until proven guilty, on trial for the murder, and I'll see if I can get this properly. Christian Bahane Rivera. Let's try that one more time. Christian Bahane Rivera. I think he's Mexican. Not entirely sure. If I'm wrong, I will correct that tomorrow, and I do apologize. He is on trial for the murder of this 19-year-old University of Iowa college student. So this takes place in the great state of Iowa. I had to drink my coffee. This is supposed to be a leisurely show today. So she grows up in this town. It's a very small town. She is house sitting for her brother-in-law. There's a house that her brother-in-law and his wife own and they live in. His name is Blake, and her name is Allie. So Blake and Allie live in this house that they've built. He's a home builder. Also living in that house is Mollie's boyfriend, Dalton, who is Blake's younger brother. So both Blake and Dalton work in construction. So their work takes them wherever the work is. So Blake has his own construction company and he builds houses. So he was in a different town building houses. Dalton builds bridges. So he was in a different town building bridges. But so Mollie would spend time, basically she was pretty much living at this house as well with her boyfriend Dalton, who she had been dating for 3 years, since high school. So, and they had some dogs and she was taking care of them. And the dogs mostly stayed in the basement because one of the dogs was epileptic. And when he had a seizure, he would release his bowels, and they didn't want that to happen in the house. So they would keep those dogs. If they weren't home, they would keep those dogs in the basement. If they were home, the dogs were allowed. Oh, that's my boss. Acknowledging that I'm not coming in today. So, where was I? The brain. It's just like slowed to a crawl. Oh, so when they were home, the dogs would stay up in the house with them. So this whole thing kind of begins on July 16th, 2018. That's a Monday. On that Monday, her boyfriend Dalton leaves town to go out of town. That was redundant, wasn't it? He leaves town to go out of town. Yeah, he goes out of town for work. And Allie, who also lives in the home, she works out of town as well. I don't know what she does. I don't know if they said. Now, Mollie is a full-time worker. She works in a hospital daycare center. A lot of hospitals have daycare centers for their workers. Mine does as well. So that's where she works. She worked with the young children. So she is left home with these dogs. And on the evening of July 18th, which is the Wednesday, she goes out jogging. Now she is a jogger. In high school she was part of the track and cross country team. She would jog anywhere from a mile to 6 miles a day, but she would go out in the early evenings to jog when it was a little cooler. And so she goes out on the night of July 16th and never seen again. Disappears. Until her body is found much later. Now, the focus then becomes this Mr. Rivera, who happens to have been spotted in a Chevy Malibu in the area. They find him. He admits that he saw her and he did think she was pretty. And later on, down the line, he confesses to her murder, takes them to her body. It's in a cornfield. So the prosecution's opening statement was very short, maybe 15 minutes, and he didn't say a whole lot, which I thought was interesting because I'm sure there's a whole lot more to this story. And then the defense opening statement is deferred. Now, logistically, this rarely happens. The defense can either give their opening statement at the beginning of the case, which is the usual way to do it. But if they're trying to hold their cards close to the vest, in other words, they don't want the prosecution to know what their defense is going to be, they will give their opening statement after the prosecution rests. Of course, the prosecution always has a chance to come back and do a rebuttal of what the defense has presented, but it's just another tactic that you can do in a trial. So in this case, they opted not to give an opening statement until the close of the prosecution's case, which I found very interesting. And so far I'm quite impressed with the defense attorneys. They're on the ball. It's a male and a female, and they seem to really know their stuff. So the first witness is Blake Jack. He has 2 first names, Blake Jack. This is the boyfriend's older brother, the owner of the house. And he testifies that, he has his own construction company. He builds houses. And he was out of town building a house. His wife was out of town working, and if he had a couple of days off, he would go over and visit his wife in this town where she was working. It just sounds to me like this is such a rural area that you just take work where you can find it. So he was under the impression that while he was going to be away that week, that his brother Dalton would be at home with the girlfriend Mollie. So on Tuesday, he finds out from his brother that his brother's going to be working in Dubuque for a couple of weeks. Okay, so this was news to him. This is news that he finds out on Tuesday. Then on July 19th, which is Thursday, he gets another call from his brother, asking him if he could, and it's late in the day, it's 4:30ish, and he's asking his brother, can you go home and check on Mollie? She didn't show up for work, and everybody's, we're all worried about her. She's not answering her phone. So he said he had to go help his wife do something with her car. I guess something was going on with his wife's car, so he helped her with that. Then he does return to his home. He goes into the house. He said there's, nothing is out of order. He goes to the basement. He takes the dogs out. He says that's their usual routine. Whoever's the first one home, that's always their routine. The first thing they do is they go and they take the dogs out. So he does that. No sign of her anywhere. So then he starts checking with the neighbors. Have you seen her? No one has seen her. Then he meets up with some friends. They start repeatedly calling her. She's not answering. They're checking Facebook and Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat. But apparently this group of people did. Snapchat was very popular amongst this. It was their way of communicating. It's interesting how you find different people have different ways of communicating. Some people use Discord, some people use Messenger, some people use, I just learned of a new one called Line, L-I-N-E. There's all these different programs you can communicate with each other on. But both Snapchat and Messenger have these applications where you can find people. You can find your friends. Now, I don't think I'm sure I have it, but I haven't activated it. And the person, you have to have that person as your friend in your phone for it to work, I guess. And if you turn on this service on Facebook or Snapchat, it'll show you where your friend is at. So they looked on that and they couldn't find her. So he was checking with neighbors. So more of his testimony, he said on cross-examination that, no, he was not aware that his brother and Mollie were having problems. No, he was not aware that his brother may have been cheating on Mollie. And no, he was not aware that his brother had any anger problems. So he's clearly in, I'm going to defend my little brother mode. Then the next witness is Dalton Jack, the boyfriend. So it's clear to me at this point that the defense is headed in the direction of the boyfriend. Let's blame the boyfriend. They've been dating for 3 years. Continuously, he says. They never broke up in those 3 years. He said her usual routine was to go out in the evening, jog 1 to 6 miles a day. He went over what she would usually wear when she would go out and jog. Dalton is now in the Army. Apparently, 3 months after her body was found, he decided he's going to join the Army because he just wants to get away. He just said he couldn't. He had to leave. He couldn't be in the same town where he missed her, and this was the love of his life. So he testifies that he went to Dubuque on that Monday. Now, the killing happens on the Wednesday. She's last seen when she goes jogging on that Wednesday. So this is on Monday. He says that he went to Dubuque very early that morning with a coworker who rode with him. I suspect we'll hear from that coworker. And then they got started on the job about 5:36 a.m. He said he received a Snapchat from Mollie on the 18th, which is the Wednesday, the last time anybody saw her. He said he received a Snapchat that he doesn't open till 10:30 that night. Um, and apparently, if you open a Snapchat, it goes away. Once you open it and see it, you can't see it again. I really don't know anything about Snapchat. So, and I couldn't tell what time she sent it. So I guess we'll see more about that. Then on the Thursday, he had no communication from her at all. And he said he would usually hear from her several times a day. They would text each other, either text or Snapchat, but he did not hear from her on Thursday. So later on Thursday, well, what happened on Thursday is he's working, he's, building these bridges, and the weather starts getting really, really nasty. So they knock off work about noon, and he goes back to his hotel, and he takes a nap, and he gets woken up from his nap by a friend who says, have you heard from Mollie? She never showed up for work on Thursday, that day, Thursday, and she didn't call in or anything. So he says, no, that he had not heard from her, but, he says, okay, I'll try to get in touch with her. That's when he says he calls his brother. So he returns home. His boss, this construction company, they give him time off to help participate in the searches, which he does. And he gives some very inconsistent testimony. The defense cross-examination points out that he has given several different stories about what he was doing the night Mollie disappeared after the jogging. He says he was at the hotel. One version is he was there partying with the boys, playing yard games. Another version is that he was in his bed watching a movie. So he's given several different versions of his alibi for that night, but he says he did have a roommate in the hotel. So maybe we're going to hear from that roommate. So that is where I have left off in the testimony. So the opening statement of the prosecution, the first two witnesses, and these are all witnesses we may hear again when the defense puts on their case as well. So tune in. This should be an interesting one, guys. I hate to cut this short again, but I need to rest. If I don't go to work tomorrow, they're going to think I've died. I just keep thinking, oh, I'm just going to rest, and then I'm going to feel better the next day, and I don't feel better today, unfortunately. And no, it's not COVID. People keep saying, did you get tested for COVID? It's not COVID. It's just a bad, it's a cold. It started in my head, moves to my chest. It's just a typical cold. So, and colds usually make you feel really miserable. But I will drag my butt into work tomorrow, because if you're out 3 days, then you got to get doctor's note. And I ain't going to the doctor for a cold. So I will drag my butt in there tomorrow. So guys, I'll see if I can catch up on the trial today. One thing I did want to say, if you watched the verdict in the last trial that I covered, and that was Zachary Wester. So I just wanted to correct some things. Again, the brain fog. When the verdict came down, it was, when I covered it, it was very difficult to hear at the beginning of the video, because I had to get in here so fast, because Law and Crime was not covering the verdict. I got a message from J-Rob. She said, hey, the verdict's coming out. So I rushed in here to to turn on a live. So by the time I got it turned on and properly the volume adjusted, I had missed some of the verdict. But I wanted to correct a few statements that I made. He was in summation, Zachary Wester was found guilty of 19 of the 67 counts. So my first, again, the brain fog that day, I thought he was only convicted of the counts related to the Teresa Odom traffic stop. Well, as it turns out, he was convicted of racketeering, and he was convicted of all the counts related to Teresa Odom, all of the counts related to Joshua Emanuel, who is the first guy he stopped, and all of the traffic stops related to Stephen Van. Now, what those three have in common is that, one, there was a full body cam video from Zachary Wester on the Teresa Odom stop. So, and we really can see that he had something hidden in his hand. The other two were partial videos where the video is shut off at a certain point. So on the rest of the traffic stops, no video. So I surmise that, again, I will stick with this statement that the jury needed to see it to believe it. They just still had some doubt in their minds since there was no video, and there was testimony from the computer technician that these body cam footages were from time to time deleted off the server, and which was Zachary Wester's defense to the body cam footage being missing, is that, you know, it was deleted. But you can't say that in the cases where you had some body cam footage and not, you know, parts of body cam footage. So we know that, so now he has been found guilty on 19 counts. So I just wanted to kind of make that clear, because I wasn't so clear with that when I did my verdict video. So, and I do apologize. So this is, again, the Mollie Tibbetts Murder Trial, and I do hope you enjoy, and happy crafting. Don't forget the Crafter's 90-Day Step Challenge. I am about to cough myself to death. The form for that is in the Crafting Journey Facebook group, and I hope to see you all tomorrow in the morning show. Love you all. Bye.